Welcome to Expert Real Estate Secrets, the show where real investors share real strategies that actually work. No fluff, just actionable tips to help you close more deals, make more money, and build lasting wealth. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Expert Real Estate Secrets podcast, where we break down creative strategies the wealthy use to build lasting wealth through real estate. I'm your host, Don DeRosa, and today we're talking about something that, honestly, not enough investors consider: how your primary residence can actually become one of your most powerful rental assets in disguise. Imagine this. You live in your home for a couple of years, and when the time comes, you could walk away with up to $250,000 completely tax-free if you're single, double that if you're married. That's not just smart investing, it's what I call strategic tax planning.
Exactly, Don. And this is all thanks to a little gem in the tax code called Section 121. Basically, if you own and live in your primary residence for at least 2 out of the last 5 years, the IRS lets you exclude a huge chunk of your profit from taxes when you sell. It's one of those things that sounds almost too good to be true because, let's face it, the government doesn't usually hand out big tax breaks like this. But this one's legit. Say you bought a home for $200,000, sell it for $400,000 a few years later, you might walk away with that entire $200,000 gain tax-free. Try doing that with a regular rental or an investment property and, well, you'll be paying taxes on most, if not all, of that gain. So this really is a home run if you know how to use it.
Right. And this is where it gets fun for the real estate nerds out there, myself included. Here's the basic play. You buy the home, live in it, and meet the 2 out of 5 years rule, but then, rather than just selling and moving on, you transition that property into a rental. You get the tax-free gain if you decide to sell, but if you want to hold on, your tenants start paying down your mortgage. Plus, once it's a rental, you start getting all those sweet deductions for things like depreciation, repairs, property management. The list goes on.
I love this strategy, Don, because it's something I actually did with my first little townhome. I bought it, lived there for 3 years, and honestly, at the time, I just wanted a simple place close to work. 3 years go by, and not only did the value shoot up, but I walked away with a tidy, tax-free profit. What did I do? Rolled that money right into my next house and turned that first place into a rental. Let me tell you, passive income from that first tenant check, way more fun than your average 9-to-5 raise. It's a play you really don't want to overlook if you're planning to build wealth in real estate.
Timing, though, really is everything here. The IRS gives you that 2 out of 5 year window for a reason. As long as you've lived in the house 2 years out of the last 5, you still qualify for the exemption, even if you've moved out and started renting the place for up to 3 years. But don't push it. If you hang on to the rental beyond that 5-year mark and then sell, you lose that huge Section 121 benefit. Suddenly, you're paying capital gains taxes just like any investment property.
Right, so it's super important to get your timeline straight. And for those who want to go next level, you can actually, sometimes, blend Section 121 with a 1031 exchange. That's getting a bit advanced. And, to be super clear, you'll want a really sharp tax advisor and probably a solid attorney by your side. But if you do it right, you could exclude a big chunk tax-free and then roll the rest into another investment, compounding your wealth over time. It's a strategy for people who really want to maximize every dollar, but yeah, get the right guidance before you try this at home.
Yeah, don't wing that kind of thing by yourself. It can backfire if you're not dotting every I along the way. Plus, you've got to genuinely treat the place as a primary residence. There's no fooling the IRS if they ever decide to look into your intent. And don't forget, if you rented it out before selling, some of that depreciation gets recaptured when you sell. It can mess with your numbers. You've got to plan for it.
Yeah, let's pivot for a second because, okay, you've decided to keep your place as a rental. How do you actually maximize the income and tax benefits? First thing, you want to do a solid local market analysis so you're not underpricing or scaring off good tenants with sky-high rents. Sometimes just a couple of strategic upgrades, a stainless steel fridge or those LVP floors tenants love, can help you command a higher rent and attract folks who'll actually take care of your property.
Plus, you've got to keep super clean records. Every dime of income, every repair, every tax-deductible expense, get it down in a system. Because when tax time rolls around, the more organized you are, the better your deductions and the easier your life. Oh, and don't forget all the landlord duties, screening tenants, maintenance schedules, handling those late night, the sink's leaking calls, you name it. Good property management keeps your cash flow stable, protects your investment, and honestly, it just gives you a better night's sleep. Once your property's a rental, don't sleep on depreciation. The IRS lets you deduct a portion of the building's value each year. Huge for reducing your taxable income and keeping more cash in your pocket today. But like I mentioned earlier, when you eventually sell, you've got to deal with something called depreciation recapture. That means some of those tax savings come back as taxable income on the sale, so you have to factor that in.
That's one area where a good tax professional pays for themselves. They can walk you through advanced plays like a cost segregation study, breaking out components of the property so you can accelerate depreciation and save even more. But you want to do it right because the IRS really does pay attention to depreciation numbers, especially when it's time to sell. Don't cut corners and always ask questions if you're unsure. It's better to plan up front than scramble later. Let's not ignore the legal and practical side for a minute because honestly, one bad lease or skipped step can mess everything up. You want a real estate attorney, someone experienced, to draft lease agreements that actually cover you and stick to your state's landlord-tenant laws. And those laws are different everywhere. I mean, even simple stuff like security deposits or how notice is handled can vary a lot by state.
Yeah, know your rules. I've seen people lose thousands just because they didn't know a regulation changed in their city. Set up a process for tenant screening, credit, background checks, the whole 9 yards, and put regular maintenance on the calendar, not just when things break. A solid management plan keeps tenants happy, protects your asset, and means you're not gambling with your investment. So let's say you catch the bug and want to scale this play. Now we're talking financing. You've got options, conventional loans, portfolio loans, even private money if you've built those relationships. But it all starts with your credit profile and debt-to-income ratio. Banks want to know you can handle it, especially as you add more properties to your list.
And don't be shy about shopping around either. Every lender is a little different. You want the best terms you can get because even half a point off the interest rate makes a big difference over time. Plus, think long-term with your loans. Sometimes you want lower payments for cash flow. Sometimes you want to pay down principal faster for more equity. Getting strategic with leverage doesn't mean maxing everything out. It's about balancing risk and reward for your goals. This is where it gets exciting. Growing your rental business really is about playing the long game. You want a mix of properties in different areas, maybe a few single families, maybe some small multis, and keep an eye on emerging markets where rents and appreciation are rising. That's how you diversify and protect yourself if one market cools off.
And don't overlook the boring stuff, maintenance, upgrades, and eventually exit strategies. Keeping up the property means fewer headaches, more satisfied tenants, and higher resale value down the line. Have a plan for refinancing or selling, maybe even rolling into a 1031 exchange to delay those taxes a little longer. The key is, your primary home isn't just where you live, it can be the foundation for a rental empire if you plan smart from the start.
All right, that's a wrap for today, folks. Your primary residence can be one of the best wealth-building tools if you approach it with a little strategy and a lot of planning. If you want to learn how to structure deals like this, or if you're curious about using Section 121 or 1031 exchanges, head to expertrealestatecoaching.com for step-by-step resources and coaching. Don, anything you want to add before we head out?
Just that the next episode is one you won't want to miss. We're diving into how AI and automation are reshaping the way investors manage rentals today. It's going to be game-changing. Mia, great as always. To everyone listening, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time. Oh, and by the way, if you want additional education, go check us out at expertrealestatecoaching.com. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Don. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon.
That's it for today on Expert Real Estate Secrets. If you're ready for hands-on coaching and real results, go to www.expertrealestatecoaching.com right now. Join the community, get the tools, and start closing more deals. We'll see you on the next episode.